According to the TSA, this past Sunday, more than 3 million travelers passed through U.S. airports, setting a new record for the most travelers to do so in a single day.
My family made 4 of them, and amidst this air travel surge, some very concerning scares have happened recently, including a United flight that lost a tire on takeoff at Los Angeles International Airport. And here to discuss from LAX is ABC News transportation correspondent Gio Benitez. Gio, welcome. It's nice to see you. So we talked about this troubling incident. Nobody wants to fly thinking that that could happen to their plane. What do we know about what actually occurred with this tire?
Hey, Rebecca. Hey, DeMarco. Good to see you guys, too. Yeah, so at first I should say nobody was injured, right? So that's the most important news. But there were 179 passengers on board. And when this plane took off, it lost a tire shortly after takeoff. Now, at one point, the pilots had no idea which tire had taken off. But they did have to go ahead and tell the passengers to brace. And that is what they say when there is some sort of emergency where they don't know what's going to happen when they land. So they told the passengers, brace, 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 and that's when they have to sort of get in position to brace their bodies to make sure and land safely without injury. And thankfully, that's what happened. But no doubt about it, incredibly scary that this even happened.
So, Gio, how dangerous and how unprecedented is something like this?
Well, you know what, DeMarco, incredibly, think back to March, because we saw this before, also a United flight, and a tire fell off, and it landed in the airport parking lot, the employee section of the airport parking lot, and it crushed some cars. So you can just imagine what would have happened if people, employees of the airport, were sitting in those cars at that time. It's incredibly, incredibly dangerous. It is rare, but it's concerning to see so many of these, right? 2 of them happen just within a few months.
I often wonder, Gio, and we even talk about this sometimes, is this really happening more, or do we have just greater awareness of all of this? And we know that United as well as the FAA are both investigating this. United has announced that the wheel's been recovered in Los Angeles. They're investigating what caused it. The FAA is also investigating it. What do they expect to or hope to find here?
Well, they're very likely, Rebecca, going to be looking at maintenance, right? And that would have been a United issue in this case. So they're very likely going to have to look at maintenance because in terms of this last one, it was a 29-year-old plane. So that's presumably not a Boeing problem. And that's really what we've been seeing across the board in so many of these incidents, right? We know that Boeing had that issue with the door plug flying off the plane at 16,000 feet back in January. That's been the focus of so many investigations now. That was very clearly a Boeing issue, but all of these other ones that we've heard of since have really been maintenance issues, and so we're really going to have to look at the maintenance process and see why that's happening.
Gio, let's talk about that close call over Syracuse, New York. It was caught on dash cam video. 2 planes nearly missing each other. What do we know about that incident?
Okay, DeMarco, so this was a Delta regional flight and an American regional flight. And this video, what's crazy about this is usually we talk about these close calls and we have to use little graphics and stuff. This was on video, and you see these planes really, from that angle at least, it looks like they were crossing paths. We know that they came from the data, they came within 800 feet of each other. So that was incredibly dangerous. They wouldn't have seen each other from the positions they were in. And so now the FAA is looking at that to see what happened. And you could actually see, because this was caught on a police dash cam video, you can see an officer step outside and look up and witness this and just be in total disbelief at what she was witnessing. So this is going to be a big investigation for sure.
Meantime, Gio, Boeing has agreed in principle to plead guilty to fraud and pay the maximum fee for those crashes involving its 737 MAX. What kind of ripple effect do you see this having on the travel industry?
Well, immediately in terms of, you getting on a plane right now, you're probably not going to see a whole lot. But what happens in the future, right? Are airlines going to say, you know what, with these issues with Boeing, do we maybe want to go ahead and go to Airbus? Boeing is an American company. We want to preserve its strength in aviation, but Airbus is very much growing in the American market, and airlines are continuously turning to Airbus for new planes. And so no doubt about about it, you're going to wonder, well, what's going to happen with Boeing? Are airlines going to start going a little bit more to Airbus? And we've seen some signs of that or suggestions of that, but no doubt about it, they're going to want to preserve this American company. So it's really a long-term issue.
Okay, Gio, we really appreciate you taking the time with us today.
Gio, good to see you, man.
Thank you so much, guys.
See you soon.